Hey guys, welcome to my coming out story. It was quite difficult to recap on all the events that have led up to these moments and me figuring out my sexuality. But I've tried to narrow it down as much as possible and just give you the best insight to my story. Now, it started off quite young. I was at my old school and I was in about grade 3, and a rumour got out that I was gay, and kids those days were like, oh my god, he's gay, that's so weird. And like, after that rumour spread around the school, I had no friends. I was pretty much labelled an outcast, which at that age is not a good thing for a kid. And then after that, I was getting bullied every day. I didn't have people to play with at lunchtime and all that sad sob story stuff. But I managed to make friends with one person who was also an outcast, and he didn't care. He was like, I don't care what you're like, I still like you. And I was like, oh, I kind of really, I don't know, it really meant something. And we were friends for a long time, and then it got to the stage where Mum decided we were going to move away, and I thought it was a really good idea just to have a fresh start and have a new. So I left that school, and it was for the best, really. And after I left that school, I got to this new school, and it was a Christian school, and I thought to myself, oh no, I'm going to be an outcast here too. Everyone's Christian, I'm not Christian. I came from public school. Oh, I'm not going to have any friends. And my first day, I was greeted by two people that were extremely nice. And they were kind of, not outcasts, but they weren't the popular ones. And it got to the point where I eventually made friends there, and everyone was really encouraging and accepting, but at this stage nobody kind of knew anything about me, so nobody knew the rumour from my old school, and at this stage I still hadn't figured anything out. So I was still trying to figure out who I was. Now, with all the friends I had at this school, I managed to eventually kind of find out who I was, which is a good thing, but I couldn't accept it myself. I thought, no, I'm not gay, I'm not this, I can't be, no, I'm at least bi, I'll be bi, yeah, because I like girls, but I also like guys. And I just thought, no, I'm bi, no, and I wouldn't accept the fact that I was gay, and I think it was just, at that time I was still confused and everything, obviously. And I kind of eventually started meeting other people, other gay guys, and I was like, oh, actually, maybe I am. Like, I've got an attraction to this, I've got an attraction to you, but then I look at girls now, I'm like, oh, no thank you. But I got to this one time where I went on a camp. It was a snow camp, it was really fun. And then I met this one guy, and I don't know, I just clicked really well with him and kind of got along really well. I thought to myself, hey, maybe it's about time some people started knowing, because why not? Like, I'm starting to get comfortable with myself. I've accepted it myself at this stage. Now, let's tell some people. So I was on the bus on the way back from the snow, where I was sitting next to my friends, and I was going over and over in my head thinking, oh, when should I do it? Should I do it now? No, not now. Oh, when should I do it? And then I was extremely quiet. My friend was like, what's wrong? I'm like, oh, nothing. And then he's like, no, what's wrong? I can tell something's up. So I was like, oh. So instead of telling it to her, I actually typed it on my phone in my notes. I typed, hey, you might find this a bit weird, I hope you don't look at me any differently, but I like guys. And then I showed it to her, she read it, and the expression on her face, she was over the moon. she loved it. She's like, oh my god, I'm so happy, yes, and gave me a big hug, and just seeing her reaction made me feel so much better about myself, and me feel so good. I was like, oh yes, this is awesome. I have someone who accepts me for who I am, and which was amazing. And then my other friend saw what was going on. She's like, jumps on our laps. She's like, what's going on here? And I'm like, oh, nothing. And then my other friend looks at me and goes, and then she's like, what was that look for? What's going on? I'm like, oh, nothing. And then she's like, don't lie to me. I'm like, oh. So I ended up telling her too, and she's like, oh, yes, I'm so happy for you. Yeah, I love you, blah, blah, blah. She was extremely happy for me as well. And it just made that bus ride home a lot easier. And just knowing I have people there for me, people who accept me, was just awesome. And what else? It got to the stage where I just started telling more and more people. And everyone was accepting, everyone was fine with it. And then it got to this one night on the way home from the city. I was driving home with my mum, and I was very quiet and just, I wouldn't tell anyone anything at this stage because I didn't know how to tell my parents. So I kind of were in the car on the way home, and I was just like nervous, I was sweating, I was like shaking, I didn't know what to do, and I was like, oh, should I tell her? No, I should do it. No, I'm not doing it. But then I turned the music down in the car and I was like, Mum, you know how you've been telling me lately to be more open with myself and true to myself? She's like, yes. And I said, well, I think it's about time you know, but I like guys. And she's like, I had a feeling you did. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, there you go. And that was it was a bit of a relief. And then she just spoke to me and said, you know, I love you no matter what. I'll be there for you. No matter what happens, I'll always be here for you and love you. I thought that was such a relief. It was like the best answer I could have hoped for. And then yeah, I thought it was just gonna be an awkward ride home, but it wasn't. It was chilled, I felt fine. Then it got to my nan, and I told her, she's like, oh yes, I still love you, and accept you for who you are. And no matter what happens, I'll always be here for you. No matter what you choose, decisions you make in life, I'll always be there for you and love you. And I thought, oh, that's really good as well. My family accept. But the one I felt hardest to try and tell was my dad, because father figure, he's like, he would have been hoping for this, I don't know, role model son that looks up to him and goes out and finds a pretty girl and does things he's interested in. But in reality, I was a complete opposite. And that's where I was quite nervous for telling him. And in the end, I got to the stage of, I was like, yeah, I'll tell him soon. And Mum always thought it was a good idea too as well. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it soon. But I got a phone call one day from him. He's just like, hey, how are you? I'm like, yeah, I'm good, thank you. Just a general conversation. And he says, I've got something to ask you. I'm like, oh crap, I knew it. As soon as he said, I've got something to ask you, I knew what he was going to say. And it was, how come you never told me you were gay? And I was like, oh, I don't know, I just felt hard. I think he's like, yeah, I understand, it's a hard thing to tell your dad especially. But you know, I love you and support you no matter what. Which is what I wanted to hear, especially from him. Like, out of everyone, I really wanted to hear that from him. And it just meant the world that he accepted me for who I was, the decisions I have made, and all that stuff. So that was a huge relief. And yeah. And then it got to the stage where I'd just come home. I was on the train home from seeing a guy, and then I thought to myself, everyone supports me, everyone I know and love supports me, all my friends support me. Maybe it's time to fully do it and come out. So I thought, oh, should I? I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So I got my phone out, and at the time I was like, I don't need to make a big deal about it. Like, I don't need to, but I wanted to. Just thought, yeah, I'll make a status, you know, and just a cliche way of doing it. And then I thought, hey, should I tell more people? Should I make it official or what? And I thought to myself again, I was running it through my head saying, what if people don't accept me? I'm still in school, what if I get picked on? It's teenage, you know, they're always full of shit. I thought, nah, I'll do it. So I was on the way back from seeing a guy, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it right now. So I got my phone out, did the most cliche thing possible, started on Facebook, started writing a text. I started sorry, and I was like, hey everyone, I've got something important to share. I'm gay, no shit. So I'm happy with who I am. I've got people who love me and support me. If you don't support me, that's fine. There's an unfriend button. I was really sassy about it, but I was really deep about it at the same time. And instantly I got likes, comments saying, love you no matter what, I'll support you, and all that stuff. And I thought, oh, this is great. And at first, when I got back to school, because it's on the holidays, I got back to school and everyone was a bit hostile. It's like, oh, you're the only like official like come out gay guy at our school, like this, what? They didn't know how to handle it because they were Christian. They were all a bit like, oh, we against that stuff. But they all they were supportive, but they kind of treated me as if I was like sick. So like, oh hi Brendan, like they were extremely over nice to me at times, and I was like, oh hi, like I don't need this. Just treat me like you treat everyone else. And eventually they did. Everyone was fine with it. Like I still had all my guy mates, and that's what really I think meant the most was my mates, my guy friends were like, they were cool with it. They didn't see me differently. They didn't like, oh he's gay, he's gonna try and hit on me. They were all cool with it. They were chilled. They didn't care, which is really what I think meant one of the most to me, which is really good. And now it's end of 2015. It's almost coming on in a year now, and I couldn't be happier. Like, they sure it's had its ups and downs with boy drama, friend drama, but to me it was worth it to feel this free and open to everyone, be able to live my life how I want it and happily without having to hide anything. It just made me feel so much better about myself, and yeah, I could never be happier. So yeah, that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I give some insight to everyone else who's watching this who is gay, bi, and still in the closet wanting to figure out what they want to do. So yeah.